Hi yogis, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today our reference book is going to be Yoga is Medicine by Timothy McCall, one of my favorite books. We're going to be talking about panic and anxiety. A lot of our students have anxiety and panic attacks. So I know we've already done this in the module, but I want you to have this on video as a reference so that you can refer and understand if you have a student that suffers from these kind of attacks, how we can go about it. So Ralph Sovic is the man who is all the information is coming from. Ralph Sovic studied with Swami Rama in the 70s, and he pursued a doctorate in clinical psychology, and he also became a yogi. So he's a wonderful yoga teacher. He's a wonderful reference to people that might have any kind of stress disorders. And so I chose this to be our guide today. Let's talk what anxiety is. Let's talk about the overview of anxiety. Anxiety is a pervasive emotional problem. There is no one who does not have the feelings of anxiety in some point of their life, says Rolf. There is 100% incidence. As inevitable as anxiety is for most of us, some people experience it with an intensity that can seriously undermine their health. Rolf alludes to stress management guru Robert Elliott's take on anger. He used to say, "Why become enraged when a little irritability will do?" You could say the same thing about anxiety. Why become terrified when a little nervousness will do? When anxiety spirals out of control and becomes more than a little nervousness, it can cause debilitating symptoms, including obsessive thinking, insomnia, migraines, intestinal problems, dizziness, nausea, shortness of breath, and heart palpitations. Full-fledged panic attacks are an extreme form of anxiety. As you can see, anxiety experienced with that much intensity can drastically undermine the quality of your life and your health and well-being. For example, excessive worry appears to undermine the ability to heal. A recent study shows that people suffering from the autoimmune skin condition psoriasis, which causes large scaly red plaques on the skin, took twice as long, an additional 19 days, to respond to ultraviolet light therapy if they worried a lot. Conversely, another study found that when psoriasis patients listened to guided meditation tapes while undergoing UV treatments, they improved with a greater amount of time and quickness. Another problem, according to Rolf, is that anxiety can be so consuming that you focus only on the symptom of anxiety but lose sight of the root cause. If you lose track of what's causing your anxiety, it becomes more difficult to take action to alleviate it. Of course, there are some sources of anxiety over which you have no control. So, yes, an asteroid could indeed strike the planet and wipe out humankind, but worrying about the possibility can only make you miserable, and there is absolutely nothing you can do about it. Other times, anxiety can actually serve a function. If there's a genuine danger, then thinking about it and how you might either avoid it or respond it could save your life. Anxiety is useful insofar as it helps you make better choices for how to live. Thinking obsessively about the same problem when it doesn't bring any further insight and makes you more miserable serves no purpose. How yoga fits in. Yoga can help with anxiety in a number of ways. It offers specific techniques that can reduce symptoms both in the short and long run. Because of its focus on tuning in to inward states, yoga can also help you get beneath the surface of anxiety to figure out what might be triggering it, such as unresolved conflicts or habitual thought patterns. One of the key yogic techniques used to counter anxiety is to focus on the breath. Perhaps nowhere is the connection between the mind and the breath more obvious than in anxiety. During anxious or fearful moments, breathing is disturbed in a wide variety of ways. It may become quick and choppy, rigid, constricted, or even stop altogether for periods of time. When you are calm, on the other hand, breathing tends to be smooth and rhythmic. Some people who are anxious or depressed have the sense that they can't take a full breath. Yoga teaches that one way to improve the inhalation is to focus on the exhalation. By learning to engage the abdominal muscles to gently squeeze a little more air out, with each exhalation, you will be able to take in a deeper, more satisfying breath. Anxious breathing occurs disproportionately in the upper chest and doesn't fully engage the diaphragm, the large sheet of muscle separating the chest cavity from the abdominal organs. When the diaphragm contracts, it descends, creating more space in the chest and lowering the pressure in the lungs so that they can draw in more air. Yogis sometimes use the shorthand chest breathing to describe rapid, shallow breaths in abdominal breathing, to indicate the slower, deeper breaths in which the diaphragm moves more freely. If you have been predominantly a chest breather, you will benefit from yoga's emphasis on breathing in a deeper, slower, more relaxed manner, although it may prove challenging at first. So, in the beginning, we want to take their breath and start to make them aware of it. We're going to, right now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about sandbag breathing, and I'm also going to talk to you about crocodile breathing. So we're going to take some photographs, and we're going to make a little sequence. But understand, with the sandbag breathing and the crocodile breathing, if there's someone that's undergoing extreme anxiety, you really want them to focus on their breath for a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, before you start introducing more asana into their sequence if you're working with them on a one-to-one basis. So I would really concentrate on just the sandbag breathing and the crocodile breathing so they can use that as a tool, and that we could see how they really can bring the levels of anxiety down through this technique of just teaching them how to breathe. So watch the following photos and the following voiceovers and use them for your students that have anxiety or panic.